I've been playing the upcoming 1.0 version of Xenonauts 2, and here's what I've learned so you don't make all these mistakes I've been making. This is all on Commander difficulty, so all these tips and tricks should apply to every difficulty setting in the game. The most important decision you're going to make in any campaign is right before you start. This toggle right here doesn't make the game significantly harder or easier, it just drastically reduces the number of missions you need to complete for a win. It's a system that highly incentivizes you to take instant cash bounties instead of repeating UFO recoveries you've already done twice before, and then if you need the raw materials, you simply spend all those operation points you're saving up. The main secondary effect I notice is that you won't need nearly as many soldiers for the campaign, because they get much longer intervals between missions for them to heal and get therapy for their severe trauma. I've played with and without, and I still can't decide which I prefer because, the absolute drama of tactical missions is like 90% of the reason I play the game, but the toggle enables you to do 3 or 4 campaigns in the time that it used to take you a single one. It's all a question of what you prefer. A long campaign with lots of missions, or a much faster progression through the whole thing that enables you to do it all over again without burning out if you want to. Another decision you're going to make right away is where to place your initial base, and I learned that you really should get the 1 million to 1.25 million base instead of going for the absolute cheapest you can find, unless, you want to roleplay Homeland Security in Michigan or challenge yourself a little bit more. The extra cash that you get isn't that big of a difference, and the coverage of your first base is such a huge deal when it comes to managing the Doomsday counter, which is the number one concern when you get a game over screen at 100%. Spend all of your operation points getting it to 2.5%. That is a manageable percentage. It will look easy at first, but soon you'll get a pile of filthy traitors who'll make their rate of increase jump catastrophically. So don't waste your initial points on funding or whatever. Save it to reduce the Doomsday counter rate of increase. It will carry on being useful because then it goes to lowering panic, which becomes your main metric for monthly funding. Never press this button right here, the Doomsday one-time reduction button, unless you absolutely have to, which I did multiple times because I didn't know any of this. If you find yourself with spare operation points early on, spend them on getting more operation points. These investments will start paying off after about 100 days, so it only makes sense to get them early or not at all. I have an old campaign that I got to the super late game at about day 300, so if you're getting these upgrades at day 200, you're gonna get nothing out of it. I've always been able to focus on the discounted ones, the ones with the green dot, but you may get unlucky in your campaign. I don't think it's worth getting if it's not discounted. Because the garbage traitor red infiltrators can't come back, it's always better to get a new supporter rather than to kill an infiltrator for its own sake. Focus on the supporters that you really need and only kill infiltrators if you need to lower the Doomsday rate and you have no other way to do so. As far as I've seen, once you've turned someone green, they'll never go red again. You'll get a massive injection of cash once the alien invasion begins counter runs out, allowing you to comfortably build your second base. Don't be like me and pawn off your firstborn child in exchange of a small loan of $1 million 5 days before the counter expires. Similarly, don't stress about more scientists and engineers until you get your second month of big funds. Just be sure you'll have enough living quarters for the hiring spree. Your main focus should be on more airplanes. This is not new knowledge. Air superiority continues to be absolute king in Xenonauts. You could lose every terror mission and still be just fine as long as you're managing to shoot everything down. Always prioritize getting lots of planes and upgrading them. 3 and up to an eventual 6 interceptor hangars in each base, and always have cash to build the next plane, which should always be happening as soon as you can afford it. Prioritize building more and better planes until you have 2 full squads for each half of the world, however you want to distribute those. Although really 2 centralized bases is all you're really gonna need. The volume of enemies goes crazy in the mid and late game. You gotta believe me, you want more planes. With air superiority, you won't have to worry about panic, you won't have to invest in any other form of base defense because you're shooting everything down, and you'll get a steady stream of resources from the wreckages. You will never regret having more planes, and if you do, you can just decommission them for half their value back. The air combat used to be some basic bitch placeholder pretty much, but now you'll benefit tremendously from micromanaging your engagements. For all their superior technology, UFO pilots sure are stupid, with a few exceptions who'll simply flee from combat and the challenge is to intercept them. Every UFO will simply target nearest threat. This enables a multitude of reliable exploits to flank, avoid a ton of damage, and get away with severe underdog conditions. I like to always bring a jet that is just maxed out with missiles and it just unloads the big wad and then goes around in circles, baiting the aliens into a bad spot. Torpedoes miss all the time, you have to really micromanage them, but I've never seen a single missile miss its target no matter how small. The system is not terribly complicated, just a little finicky sometimes. It has that real-time with pause computer RPG vibe, but it's enormously satisfying to pull off a fight without taking any damage, which isn't always possible, but it's nice when it happens. And last, on the tactical mission side, not much has changed. It's always been the most solid and finished part of the game. The main difference is they've reduced slightly the number of people you can take on a mission in the early and mid game. You really can't get away with a ton of neglect for your dudes. By day 120, I'd only given them a few bits of new armor and laser shotguns. Standard equipment, grenade spam, and shotguns to the face will get you all the way through and including the cleaner main base. Unless you find yourself struggling, only start worrying about better equipment once you start seeing freaking Androns. I hate their mechanized guts. Also, your battle robots, your Mars platform, they are overpowered and awesome. They're totally worth the cash for what they do, but in my opinion, the money and research time is better spent on more planes. That's about all the advice I have specifically for 1.0. Bear in mind I made all these mistakes in my first Commander campaign and I still won it, so don't feel it's the end of the world when you don't make the absolute most optimal moves all the time. There's plenty of margin of error for you to fuck around and find out, and half the fun is screwing up something and seeing if you can fix it. Going forward, I'll probably be making more general guides with everything I've learned in the excessive number of hours I've spent playing Xenonauts too, so be on the lookout for that. Until then, check them corners.